Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's DXY Securities webinar. My name is Duncan Cooper. So tonight's webinar is live Forex market review. Before we get into that, if you can all read through the disclaimer. And for those on our YouTube live stream, I cannot see the chat, but you're more than welcome to watch. Go follow the link that I've given to join us in the webinar. For those in the webinar, if you want to talk to me, you can use the chat box or the Q&A box. I've got both open. So we'll just take time to read through the disclaimer before we move along. All right, we'll move along. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I might be having some microphone problems. All right, if you don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at DXY Securities. And I'm a full-time Forex trader. I've been trading now for almost 20 years. Mentoring for more than 10. If you want to contact me, my email is there, duncan.cooper@acy.com. Through the week, you can connect with us at the website. Go to acy.com, go to the Market News tab, or our YouTube channel at DXY Securities Australia. And if you want to connect with me personally, just head over to my Linktree page. There's my handle. You can connect with me there. If you want to get access to my chart layouts and templates, then just contact Nathan Bray. I'll put his details in the chat. He'll be more than happy to set you up. All right, his details in the chat. All right, let's get straight into what the news is for the rest of the week. All right, so I'm just at forexfacts.com here and getting down into Thursday. So we do have US news tonight, 10:30 p.m. my time, Queensland, New South Wales time. We had advanced GDP, QQ, unemployment claims. And on the midnight, we have pending home sales. Then we have a whole bunch of Japanese data releases tomorrow. Policy rate, core CPI at 9:30 a.m. So that's only classed as a minor item, but these are tentative, but these usually at 1:30 in the afternoon, thereabouts. Audjpy policy rate, monetary policy statement, outlook report, press conference. And yen pairs are very much overextended to the upside at the moment. And, when is the Bank of Japan going to come in and intervene? Well, they might intervene tomorrow or even ahead of tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see if they intervene or not. But I don't know, it may be a bit risky being long those pairs to the yen at such high prices. Tomorrow evening, 10:30 p.m. for the US, we've got core PCA price index, and then on midnight, moving to Saturday, revised UOM consumer sentiment. So those are the remaining items. So be very aware of being in the Japanese pairs come tomorrow afternoon around about 1:30. All right, let's get into the charts now. Let's jump into the dollar index first of all. Having a bit of a decline this week. Seeing a bit of an anomaly at the moment. Pairs to the US dollar are moving up, and the dollar yen still moving up. And all the pairs to the yen are moving up. So dollar yen is moving down a little bit this week. If we move to the weekly chart, we are pulling back. And you're not seeing my screen moving. All right. Let's see what the problem is. All right, how about that? You can see my charts now, Lawrence? All right. Good old Zoom. Sometimes it catches me out. All right, I'm just going to head back to the news just for 1 second. I'm going to go through it all, but head over to forexfacts.com. You can see my screen changing. Just be aware of all the Japanese yen items coming out tomorrow, because that's the big window where we could see fireworks. So 1:30 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, my time, is going to be when we have the Audjpy policy rate decision, okay? All right, let's get to the charts. All right, so dollar index on the day chart here, we're having a little bit of a decline. And if we move to the weekly chart, we're having a pullback within this weekly run up, but not being able to hold above weekly resistance at the moment from over here. But the trend remains up. We're having a little bit of a week down. It's not changing the trend picture, but of course, pairs to the US dollar have been rallying in the fact that they're having a week up, dollar index is having a week down. Okay. So whether or not we're going to get a large decline or a minor decline, we'll just have to watch. Probably better watching the pairs to the US dollar. Are there any key levels in their rally points? Some are getting to some levels right now. So I'm not sure how much the dollar index in itself will decline, but look at the key areas on the pairs to the US dollar. That will probably give you a better indication about where price might stall. S&P 500 of the day chart range at the moment, only been managed to pull back to the 50% level. Couldn't get it quite up to the 62. So are we putting in the next lower top here to move down? We are already having a day down, so I'd be happier if I wanted to get short on this instrument. I'd be happier if it got up into the 62.79% zone. All right, I'd be a lot happier to see price rally to there first before declining, but the market is always right. So you need to decide, do you want to start to entertain getting short here, or are you waiting for a higher move back up? Long term, I'm looking down here at the old historical high for support, for price to maybe move down to that area and then bottom to move back up. All right. Euro dollar now. We're obviously correcting back up. We're just at an area. I'm just going to move to the weekly chart. We broke through two weekly bottoms and we're back to the 107.23 area here. So false breaking the lower one. Are we going to false break that one as well? And we might come up from within the range of this high to low. We'll have to wait and see how high this is going to come up to day chart. So this is the range for the month at the moment. Probably put in the high and the low for the month because we're on the 25th. So we only have 3 more trading days after today. So I mean, we can still break the low. Don't know whether we can get to the high of the month. So we're just pulling back up within the candle that we've been forming for the month. We're just going back up within the range at the moment. Now we are in an area where we could definitely hold out 107.23. I'm just biding my time at the moment to see where we're pulling back to. Of course, we're in an uptrend here on the 4-hour chart at the moment, but 107.23, we're just a fraction above there at the moment. If we get by the end of today, if we're back below 107.100, because down here we actually stopped at 106.100. Question is going to be, how much can we get above 107.100 from day to day? If we start to want to get back below 107.100, we may then see a topping out process in the area that we're in right now. So, but logical areas further up, if we continue up, the logical areas are 107.76, 62% retracement level. There's more. Go back to the day chart. There's more resistance up here that the market might be searching towards as well. So question is at the moment, how much of a rally are we going to get? So at the moment, I'm just I'm looking for the area where we maybe rally to, start to top out, and then can we see the next decline starting? All right, so 107.100 might be an area where we do fail. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, so I'm not seeing any reason to short yet, and it's difficult to get long because we're at the top of the move. So if you think we're going much higher, you really want to be monitoring the 4-hour range and looking for a pullback within the range to the 62.79% area to get long. Other than that, the bigger trends are down. So I'm just waiting to see where this 4-hour chart might come to a pause. I'm hoping it doesn't go as high as maybe filling the imbalance that's in this area here. But of course, imbalances often get filled. So we might be coming up maybe to the 79% level at 108.23 area. Hopefully not, but it's well worth starting to, if we do start to want to hold above 107 over the next few days, we could well be coming up to fill this imbalance. So number of pairs watching at the moment are in rally mode. I'm just waiting to see where they could top out. I'm not personally looking to engage the upside, but I'm looking to see where we might get the end of this corrective move. All right, Euro yen. With the dollar yen moving up and the euro dollar moving up, the euro yen has really broken out. I did say on Tuesday when the market was asking the question on Tuesday, can we move above 165.34? I said by the end of the day, if we close above there, watch the next day for 165.34 to be supporting. You can see the low of the day pretty much came in that area. So the thing traders really need to think about at the moment is if you're not already in, are you going to buy after a very large move up over 5 days? It's very high up now. You have to be getting in at the end of the move. I'm not suggesting we're going short, but you want to be looking for, if you want to get long, you want to be looking for the opportunity for this to pull back. So I think it's a game of, we could most definitely pull back to 165.34 again and hold. So in fact, I just want to go to the monthly chart and see where we are. The 2008 high is a long way away still at the moment. It's at 169.95, so it's about 300 pips away. So it's not that far away, but it's worth understanding that where are we historically in price action? 169.95 is a significant area. Squash this in. So this is where we topped out 2008. So the market's going to know that this is a very expensive area and we're 5 days up. So if you want to get long in this area, you want to see a pullback first of all. Not seeing any reason to get short because the market's not signaling as short at the moment. But I think we just need to be aware that we're very overextended in the uptrend that we're seeing. And there's a weekly range that we pull back into, and then we've moved above. And what you'll see is we're at, once we're at the 127 extension of the previous range that we moved into, all this movement here almost got down to the 62 area, is we're above the 127 extension. So at some point, what we're going to see is, we've obviously moved up. We had this corrective phase. We're moving up. This is in the profit taking area. Is at some point it's going to go down and up if it's going to, have a long-term trend continuation. Now, it doesn't have to pull back like I'm suggesting, but if you're wanting to get long, do you really want to be buying at the top of the move? Probably not. You want to see at least a 1 or 2 day pullback maybe. And with the Bodge policy statement tomorrow, if they intervene, we could certainly see a 300 to 500 pip pullback, and that could be the correction that you're looking for. So, wait for some form of a correction, I think, at the moment. All right. Now, whether you want to look for a big correction or just a correction on the 4-hour chart, it's going to be entirely up to you. But I mean, you need to look for some correction. On the 4-hour chart, we have quite a large overextending move. I would look for a pullback to the 627 area within that range. Not, we're 2, 4, 6 positive candles up here at the moment. Sooner or later, it's going to have some candles down. So don't get caught thinking I'm going to miss out on the next 200 pips. Just plan how you can start to, monitor for the next pullback. All right, euro pound, just pulling into the 62% area that I highlighted Tuesday. So it's off the range. It's correcting down within the range. Are we going to start to see some support in the area of 85.64 to 85.75 here. Move to the 4-hour chart. So it's actually just come down to fully complete and fill this imbalance here. So on a lower time frame, if we started to see this hold, there was an imbalance that got formed. That's just been perfectly filled. On a 15-minute chart now in this area, if we started to see price action getting bullish and turning around, we are in an area where we could put a bottom in. So if you like the euro pound, certainly monitor this 62% level at 85.64. All right, pound dollar's been moving up. It's a week of two stories. At the start of the week, Monday, we sold down to 123.00, looking very negative, but now it's correcting back up within the range of the month. Just back to an area of resistance. We are having a week up and a week down this week. Now, if we go to the day chart, the range for the month is from this high to low. It's looks exactly like what we're seeing on the euro dollar. And 3 days ago, we were at the bottom of the month. So there's a range of the month. And if we move to the weekly chart, it's also the weekly range. We're coming back into this area here. Is this going to be resistance? This area here. And there's a low over here too. So there's an area here where we broke down and through. And there's another low here. It's worth having that line put in there too. 125.39. Not too far away from there. So 125.39. And there's a 62% level just fractionally above of the monthly range. So let's just move to the 4-hour chart. So again, like I was saying on the euro dollar, I'm just looking to see where this corrective rally, after it being down all month, where maybe could this corrective rally finish, and can we start to see some bearish price action start to form on the 4-hour chart first of all? Not seeing that yet, but we're only 30 pips away from the 62% level, a little bit less than that from the weekly daily resistance areas here, and a little bit above is the 62% level. So for sure, we could just keep going up and up and up. I'm just looking to see where we might be rallying to. If you're more bullish, you want to look for a pullback now. You don't want to be buying at the top of a move. And we're at resistance right now, so that's not a logical area to be buyer. If you want to be a buyer, you need to look for the 4-hour pullback, pulling back to the 62.79% area, or wherever the range forms, for maybe getting long on a dip to move up the range if you're more bullish. But all the time frames, trends are down until we get into the intraday charts. So the day chart here, well, in fact, online, the day chart's actually turned up because we turned above that top. But the higher time frames, the weekly and monthly, are all down. And 3 days ago, we were at the bottom of the month. So this is just correcting back up within the range of last month at the moment, until we maybe see a lot more positive price action. So I'm not getting too enthralled with the idea of getting long. I'm just watching to see where it could stop and stall and turn around. All right, so for sure, let's just go back to that day chart so we know where it is. Coming into this area here, 125.18 at the moment, and there's an area here, 125.39. So today, today if we close below 125, or we start to see a reversal today, some significant price action today that wants to get back below the figure today. As I'm just talking here, the last 3 candles here, just looking fraction negative at 125.18. If you want to be aggressive, you could just look for trend line break, tight stop, or wait for price action to break a swing point. So let it come down, form a swing point, come back up. Some point, if it is going to move down, it's going to break a swing point, and that could be your trigger to get in. So I don't know whether we're topping out up here at the moment, but it's definitely an area of resistance where the market could top out at. So you know, what's your setup to trade down if we are going to top out? And of course, you could be waiting a couple of days for the 4-hour chart to start to turn over if we are topping out here. You don't have to just jump in right now, but I'll get my chart to behave itself. All right, so we're in an area where we could reverse. So, you know, just waiting for the day to finish. Do we close below 125 today? If we do, watch tomorrow for 125 to get retested. And if you start to see it fail at 125 tomorrow, we could be topping out at 125 to move back down. We've got a very swift 200 pip rally from 123. And we've still got today and tomorrow to go. We could be back below, you know, if we are topping out up here as I'm talking, we could be back below 124 by the close of Friday. So the big question is, just dropping back to the day chart, is this just all corrective at the moment? We're saying this, there's that same price action on a number of pairs to US dollar. Is it just corrective within the range that's been formed for the month to then move back down and have maybe another month down next month? This corrective move that we're having at the moment is all stemmed from the data on Tuesday being released from the US, which was a little bit weak. All right, pound yen has broken out of its range. And again, it's at a very high move. Just want to go to the monthly chart. Next major top from 2014 is 195.88. We're about 100 pips away from there at the moment. And like we're showing you on the Euro Yen, we're at the 127 extension. Now, of course, we can move higher than and above that, but this sideways price action actually bottomed out along the 62% area here. For me, it's starting to look a little bit more bearish as it was topping out down in this area or up in this area. But as we can all see, it's broken out to the top end of this range that we've got here. Just going to draw it like so. You know, I actually want to draw it the other way around so I can see where the 200% level is of this range. So a sideways range here, breaking up, but above 200% level. So the height of this range, so there's the range, projected above, comes in at that major monthly high area at 195.88, the 200% area. So maybe got another 100 pips to go if it really wants to, but once it, you know, if it gets up to that monthly resistance area, the height of this sideways area of the channel projected above also comes in for a target at the monthly resistance area above. So we're definitely maybe in the lighter end of the move. We're at the 127 extension of the weekly range at the moment. So do you want to be a buyer at the top of the move? Again, if you want to get long, you want to look for some kind of a dip. I'm using the major swings on the 4-hour chart. The last bottom's down here. There's a minor one here that you could use for a fib range. 62 level just comes in above this top. So really this top over here would be the reference point. If you want to get long and you think this is going up another 500 pips, the broken area of resistance here at 193.52, if you want to be a buyer, you want to look for price action over the next 2 or 3 days to pull back. Can it find support there to move higher? Other than that, we are potentially maybe going to come up and test this monthly high up here. When it gets there, you know, at major high levels, we often get failures. So it would be, you know, more prudent at the moment to wait and see what happens at that level. Is that an area where we're going to fail at? All right. So I'm not seeing any reason to sell, but I'm not seeing a reason to buy at such high levels. You need to see a dip. So monitor some form of dip. You could be drawing a fib on this range. If it keeps moving up, keep extending up to see where price does pull back within that range. Okay. All right, Aussie yen, another yen pair massively moving up. Go to the monthly chart. We're from the next major high back in 2014. So this is a similar top to what we've seen on the pound yen. 102.82, so we're 120-ish pips away from there. Weekly, again, if you look at the weekly range, we're coming up to the 127 extension almost. You know, not so long ago, we were all the way down here on Friday. Most of these yen pairs on Friday were looking like they were going to be reversing to the downside. But lots changed in 5 days. All right, so we're very high up. Yes, trends up, but you know, from a trading perspective, you're going to be buying at the top of the move. So there's your most immediate 4 hour ranges there. If you want to be a buyer, you're prepared to buy at such high levels now after we've gotten very overextended, look to buy a dip within the fib tool between the 62 and 79% area. That overlaps with this area that we've moved above as well at 180 there. All right, so the question will be, when we do at some point get a pullback, do we pull back to this top here at 180? Does that offer support? With all these pairs that have majorly broken above an area, if we pull back to the last broken area and it doesn't offer support, then expect a pullback within the major range that we've been moving up within. All right, because we're all very overextended at the moment. All right, Aussie dollar, much like I was discussing on the pound dollar and the euro dollar, that's the monthly high to the monthly low. Again, it's only 4 or 5 days ago, we were all the way down there. So a very logical area at the moment would be, are we just going to get a 62% retracement? You know, the trends are down on the higher time frames. If we move to the weekly chart, get my drawing tool to behave itself. All right, we have a lower top to a lower bottom here. I'm just going back up within the range of the weekly range, which is actually the range for the month that we've been forming. Are we going to come up to the 62% area? Are we going to come up to the 79% area? Are we going to put in another lower top? Are we going to hold the trend that we're seeing? Yes, the day chart trend is up at the moment, but the high time frame trends are down, and this is corrective against the high time frame trends. We're to 5th day up. Do you want to be buying at the 5th day up? Probably not. 62% level coming into it here at 65.36. Again, like I was saying on the pound, that's at 125. You know, we're coming up to, well, a little bit above 6,500 at the moment. We could hit 65.36 today, and then start to want to hold there. I would certainly be starting to watch how much time can we spend above 65, because if we get back below 65 today, I would watch 65 tomorrow to be resistance. And today you could be watching 65.36, 62% level. Let's move to the 15-minute chart. Just coming up to test yesterday's high, which we're just asking if we can move above. Now we're in the red zone up here on the pivots, M4 65.36. That would be a good area to watch for difficulty today. You could maybe get a tight entry there. And then if it does start to move down and it can get below 65, that's all good. Or you could wait to see if we're going to get a topping out process at the moment on the 4 hour chart. Over the next couple of days, do we start to see price action could still continue up maybe to the 79% level, or do we start to see price action want to move back below 65? That's what I'm looking for. If we start to want to get back below 65, and then we start to want to hold, and we keep coming back up to 65 and kind of failing, that's where I'm going to start to watch to look to get short. I mean, we got down last week to 63.61, so we've nearly rallied the best part of 200 pips for this pair. So we're due at least a breather. If not, are we coming up to put in the lower top on the weekly time frame? All right. It's been very good at the moment. It's been very nice in terms of price patterns. It created a nice little double top up here to come down. Now it could, yes, come to here and come down. It of course could come up to 79% level and then can come down. It could maybe want to come all the way back up to this area once more. All right. So I'm not seeing it yet, as I'm looking at the day chart or the 4-hour chart, a reason to get short. But I'm looking for a reason to get short because structurally, we are in a downtrend. This is just correcting back up. And as well, it is worth just having a look. Sometimes we get very much equal ranges. And this range here, that length looks very similar to what we're getting here at the moment. So if we just copy that, we're in a very similar range at the moment. That range went up and then we dropped. These rallies could often be a very similar range. So we're definitely in an area where we could start to see a reversal. That could just be a question of watching the 4-hour chart for a 4-hour candle. Do we get a nice 4-hour candle rejecting here at the 62% level as a starting point to think about getting short? All right. New Zealand yen breaking out. It's been within this range all month, but breaking out with all the other yen pairs. So it's at the top of the move though. Difficult to get long if you haven't already got long. It's difficult to get long because there's a range here. And we've been really struggling. We've got the bodge obviously coming tomorrow. We've been really struggling on the monthly chart in the area that we're at. You see, that would be February's candle rejected up here. Last month for sure kind of signals, okay, are we topping out? But of course, not the case. In fact, we had a month down this month and now we're having a month up in the same candle. So question is going to be, can the yen weakness continue, or is the bodge going to come in and do something? All right, because we're up to the 2014 very close high area over here to the left. So this monthly high over here, 92.40. Yes, we're in an uptrend, but I will just be holding my breath at the moment with this pair and seeing whether we can hold above 92.40. Because if we close back below 92.40, I would anticipate we're going to move back down to here once more. All right. So I can't get long here. I could get long if we go to the 4-hour chart. If we pull back maybe to this top over here, I'd have to look for a 4-hour dip. 62% level gets close to that 4-hour, to that day chart top over there, which was last month's high. So I could look in this area to get long if we was to decline to that area on a pullback. But I'm not going to get long at the top of the move. All right, you can watch for that pullback if you're very bullish. If you're more on the bearish side, I will just watch 92.40, and if we get a nice rejection candle and close below it on a day-to-day basis, then are we going to be reversing back down to the bottom of the range once more? I think what we need to realize with the New Zealand yen is the New Zealand dollar, or the New Zealand currency. It's been one of the weaker currencies in the recent declines that we've been having New Zealand to the US dollar. So if the New Zealand dollar once more starts selling off, this is going to maybe stay range bound and move back down within this range here. All right, let's get into the New Zealand dollar now. Just popped, managing to have a week up. The area that has been holding is just broken with the US dollar declining. And today chart here, much like the other pairs, that's the range formed high to low for the month. Where are we going to come up maybe to finish this corrective rally? We're almost halfway up. Except for today, this area here has been acting as resistance. You can see the last 2 trading days have been rejecting. So whilst we're above at the moment, again, over the next couple of trading days, do we see, whilst we're above today, we may not close above this 59.39 level today, but of course we're above it at the moment. So we might be coming up to the 62% area. We're going to put in a lower top to move down on the weekly scale. All right, so I'm just looking, like the other pairs to the US dollar, looking for an area where the market could top out at, looking for a signal. Do we get a day chart rejection? Do we once more close back below 59.39? 62% level here at 59.94. That would be close to the 60 level. That would be a very good area to watch over the next couple of days as well. What happens if we get up to there? So a couple of scenarios I'm watching about. What happens if we get up to 59.94, the 60 level? Or do we once more close back below 59.39? And then does 59.39 next trading day start to want to be resistance once more? Okay. Last year's low, as I say, this is a weaker pair than the other pairs to the US dollar because we're getting very close to last year's low. All right, so it is one of the weaker pairs. All right, dollar Canadian, just to the day chart. This is the range I'm monitoring for a pullback within. And at the moment, we had a very nice reversal yesterday ahead of this area of support. We haven't been able to get into the 62% level, only back to the 50 level. It would be nice to at least see this pull back to 36.47, so 136.47, but the market's always right. So we did have a very nice, strong reversal yesterday, and I have noted that the 4-hour chart has actually turned to up, and it's probably having a 79% pullback as I'm talking. So are we bottoming out here at the 79% level? To start that next upward move. Okay. Let's have a look on the 15. Don't have a 15-minute chart trend change at the moment, but if you see a trend line break, might be able to get a tighter one in a little bit later, but that's the most immediate trend line that I'd be happy drawing. And it'd be a lot nicer if this could come down once more, make a swing point here, and then you get a swing point break, and there's your entry there to get long. And you'd probably get your trend line break as well. All right, so maybe it needs a few more candles to prove the point, but are we bottoming out here at the 79% level or that 4-hour range to put in the next upward move on the 4-hour chart? All right, dollar franc, really struggling. You can see what's happening today. It's really struggling up here at this weekly resistance area at 91.47. Trend on the day is just holding its trend. That did move up to maybe, did it get to a fractionally higher high there? Just. mean, it could form a double top up here. It's definitely struggling at 91.47. Tough one at the moment. If you're looking to get short up here, because we'll just hold it this weekly resistance now for the best part of 2, 4, 6, 8. Best part of 2 weeks here. Not able to get move above 91.47. Be nice to see some kind of 4-hour structure change to the downside, because all this might do at the moment, because it's been doing it for the last 2 weeks, is set for that false break, staying within this range of support at 90.84 and resistance at 91.47. So we may only move down to here before we then hold to move back up. So kind of already missed the opportunity to get short up there. Might in the day come back up for another retest and failure. So if you want to trade down, you want to see if we can get another retest at 91.47 to hold, to move down, or at the moment it's already on its way down. Is you could look at the base of support here for an opportunity to get along. 90.84. Okay, it's in a range, so until it's not, you just have to trade like it's in a range. But from the day chart perspective, it could well be playing at the weekly resistance area long term, but we need a structure break. If we get, in fact, this area here needs to get cleared. So we need to see, if we are going down long term, we need to see this area break, and then some form of a rally will come to show its hand. All right, dollar yen. So of course, tomorrow we have Bank of Japan reporting. And since we broke above 152, trend remains up quite clearly. So once we broke above this area, the 22, 23 highs in through here, then it's been a one-way street at the moment. I've seen that some little areas of intervention that look, but not massively. Saw a little bit of a flip yesterday. I thought maybe we're getting a reversal, but then we've obviously headed back up. All right, so we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks up. Last run here was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks before having 1, 2, 3, kind of a 3-week reversal. All right, so a similar time frame up at the moment. It's almost a similar kind of range. All right. Hopefully you can see here that we're probably getting close to being at the top of the move before we're going to get some kind of corrective pullback, because ranges operate very similarly. You can see back here. All right, that was a fraction short of the previous range. So we don't have to get exactly up to the top of the range, but we're already 3/4 up. So even if we make the range, there's only a quarter left. So we're definitely, you're definitely getting into where people are going to start to take profits, maybe where the bodge is going to come in and intervene as well. But we can all see that the trend is up. All right. So it's difficult to get short. It's actually, for me, it's difficult to get long on this pair in such, high levels where the bodge could just intervene anytime it wants. Like, would you only want to be long with maybe a 20 or a 50 or even 100 pip stop, and the bodge intervenes and moves it back 500 pips? So, all right, so we're all in an uptrend at the moment. If you want to get long, again, you want to look at the 4-hour range. The most immediate 4-hour range is here. And you want to look for a pullback to the 62.79% area, and do we start to hold once more and turn around? I think, for me, on all the yen pairs at the moment, we have the bodge coming out tomorrow. It'd be a dangerous exercise to take a position when we don't know whether the bodge is going to come out and intervene, come out with a new policy, or keep the whole landscape the same. So at the moment, I'm guessing the market thinks the bodge is going to keep the landscape the same because we've been going up very strongly this week into the announcement. So the market's not expecting any change, but I've seen some headlines that maybe the bodge has been saying we're actively watching price action. So we may well see some form of intervention. And we can often get interventions where it just pulls back price for a while, doesn't change the trends, but it gets priced down to a lower level where the bodge is happier at, and then they stop intervening and then price just turns back around. All right, so really, you want to look for a dip. We don't have a dip at the moment on any of the yen pairs, so it's a patience game. I'm probably having to wait past the news of tomorrow. All right, let's have a look at gold. It's getting a little bit sideways in its action at the moment on the 4-hour chart. This is looking like maybe this is going to go move back above 23.24, I think. See this with the 127 extension here. So I would assume if we start to head back above 23.24, we're going to see at least a rally back up within this range. Are we going to come up to put in a further lower top on this day chart at the moment for a deeper move down? So, are we going to come back into this zone? Do we fail up there? There's an imbalance on the 4-hour chart that, needs to be filled. Are we going to come back into this area to fill that area first of all before maybe having a bit more of a deeper correction? All right, Talia, when we go back to the euro pound, it's at the 62. Basically, my commentary is we're at the 62% level of that range. Are we holding there to move back up? And I was saying before, you can see it starting to turn around on the 50-minute chart. And difficult to draw a trend line down here, but kind of a trend line breaking there. The price pattern at the moment is most definitely there's the general range up. It's pulling back to the 62. I'll be holding here to come up. So on the 50-minute chart, we're starting to hold. So what's your entry for a reversal back up? For our chart at the moment is still in a downtrend, but if we get a nice 4-hour rejection candle here, you could trade the break of that candle, stop below the low. And are we, holding at the 62% area to move back up the range? That's how I'll be looking at things. Okay. And as you when we look at the NAS100. All right, so it's done what the S&P 500 has done. It's come up to the 50 level, and then now it's having a reversal candle and a day down. I'd be a lot happier if it got up, if it had reversed back up to this area, but it hasn't done that. So it wouldn't surprise me to see this do that. That was quite a strong overextending move down here. It probably needs to come up and fill some of the intraday imbalances formed in these candles. So whilst it's forming a lower top, it may well be, coming back up to where I'm indicating. But that would mean that it's going to put in a higher bottom here to do that, which changes the day trend to up. So that might be then We may be putting actually a final bottom in here at the moment. We'll have to wait and see. It's a bit tricky at the moment. You know, using technical analysis and wanting to use technical areas to trade from, I'd be much happier that the S price did extend down to the old high over here, all-time high, but maybe price doesn't want to get down to that level. So when price doesn't make sense to me, it's always difficult. I always like to trade at a level that makes sense to me. So doesn't mean to say it's going to go up, because by the end of the day, we could have a negative candle. I don't know what we've got. I don't follow the stock market that closely, so I don't know if we've got any more reports coming out. I know it's reporting season, so I don't know if we've got any more reports coming out today that can drive price down. But you know, getting short this pair, if you want to keep shorting it, I'd be much happier up here at 17813, looking to see what happens up there. Do we get a reversal up there? Price, we need to get there first. All right. Thank you. All right, so we're most definitely having a corrective phase on the pairs to the US dollar. Just want to see what the pound's doing. It is, at least for a good hour now, holding at that daily chart resistance area at 25.18. If we break below this swing point here, that is going to give you a short trigger intraday with quite a tight stop. You know, you could be selling the break of the swing point. Stop just goes above here. You're not going to be risking too much. And, you know, we could be getting back below 125.00 today and getting a lot closer back down to 123.00 by the end of the week. All right. Just breaking that swing point as I'm talking. What's happening on the euro dollar? It is at a very, that's actually a weekly broken support from over here to the left. There's also a daily level of support as well that we're at. So here, it's an area where it was support here with a bit of a false break. So support, false break, support, we're coming back to that area. So people would have, when we moved down through here, people in this area would have been buying. So it is logically there for resistance, because people that bought may now think that they're wrong and they want to get out at the price that they bought at. So if we do start to hold at 107.23, you know, if we break a swing point, we get a trend line break, we may be topping out here today. You know, both the euro dollar and the pound dollar at the moment are looking a little bit toppy on the 15-minute charts. Are we starting to reverse down? All right, I'll leave you to watch those. You can make a decision about what you want to do or not. All right, thanks everybody. Just be aware of that you know, bodge statement tomorrow. It's, I'm sure, going to affect the market. All right, if you want to join me next week, just head over to the webinar page and come and join me next week for analysis on Tuesday. I'm going to go through a trade setup on Wednesday using a trend line break, and more analysis on Thursday. Again, all my webinars at 7 p.m. So if you want to join me, just head over to the webinar page and register your interest, and I'll see you then. Other than that, have a great rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everybody.